The MLB Draft is tonight.
I know.
And we've got some information on the Phillies from Frank Klose, 97.3 ESPN.com. We'll get an update on Vince Velasquez. What's the latest on him? Will he be missing any time? I would assume they'll probably shut him down for a couple of starts, Frank, and I know they were going to get him an MRI and try to get him all checked out. What do we know, the latest on Vince Velasquez? Anything different from yesterday's start where he left after just 2 pitches?
Nothing yet. We were told yesterday he was going to get an MRI today, and then we would know more. Velasquez tried to downplay it yesterday. He didn't think that was a big deal, but he was a little sore, and then he ended up going out anyway. They knew that he was a little bit sore, and then after he threw 2 pitches that were 86 miles an hour, the team just said, "All right, that's it. We're going to shut you down right now." There's no point in aggravating something which might be small. At the risk of a much greater injury. So hopefully for the Phillies, the MRI doesn't show too much, and maybe he does just take a quick break. I mean, the problem is they do have a day off today, but it doesn't really enable them to skip right necessarily because the other 4 guys are going to pitch the next 4 games, and then by Tuesday they're going to need an answer for somebody to start if he doesn't start himself.
Any clues out there on who that guy might be if Velasquez is unable to go, which I guess we got to make the assumption that they would at least skip him once.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I think if it's an issue where they're going to skip him one day, probably Brett Oberholzer will be the one that makes a spot start. And Oberholzer pitched pretty respectably yesterday. I mean, he gave up just the 1 run. It was an unearned run. It was on his own error, which is kind of funny in baseball where the pitcher makes his own error. It's not an earned run. But he pitched pretty well yesterday, and you could say that he argued with his performance that he should get that opportunity when it comes around. So if it's a short thing, they'll probably go Oberholzer. Now, it's kind of funny yesterday because one of the reporters up in Allentown tweeted right after the game that Zach Eflin was scratched from his start. Well, little did we realize that in our game notes sitting right in front of us in the press box, he had been scratched before Velasquez got hurt. So and the reason why they scratched Zach Eflin, who's a name that a lot of fans are clamoring for, was simply because he's been roughed up a little bit lately. He's given up about 10 earned runs, I think, in 10 2/3 innings. So while his record looks pretty good, the problem is, he's given up a lot of runs lately. So I don't think Eflin would be considered for that if they had to go to the minor leagues. The other name that fans really want is Ben Lively, who is a combined 9-0 in the minor leagues between Reading and AAA Lehigh Valley. But I think the problem with Ben Lively is that he's only made 3 starts at AAA. So I don't know if they're that eager to rush him either. So as I think I said before on this show, that I think they probably would go to David Buchanan if they need another arm, even though Buchanan hasn't really looked that great right now at AAA.
Ugh. David Buchanan. Sorry, I just had to add my own editorial comment there, Frank. So with Velasquez, just continuing on him, is there more concern with him because of his past arm injury? He had Tommy John surgery way back when.
I don't think that's so much of an issue. I just think that right now in this season, the rebuilding season, they're going to play it safe at all angles and really try not to risk injury. And I think they would do the same for any of their pitchers. I don't think that they're really going to take any chances at this point because this year is all about setting themselves up for the future, and if your pitchers get hurt, you're certainly not doing that.
So I've identified myself as not a president of the David Buchanan fan club. What else can you tell us about the ball club at this point as they come off that series with Chicago?
I don't think much has changed. I think we saw that the Cubs are still the offensive force that we thought they were. They beat up yesterday on the bullpen. Andrew Bailey got hit for a couple runs, and Colton Murray, who probably shouldn't be in the major leagues yet. They kind of rushed him up when Dalier Hinojosa got hurt. He kind of gave you what you kind of expected that was going to be coming at some point, which was he got hit for 4 runs. So I think we know, and we knew already that the Cubs are a better team. And you also see the Phillies' weaknesses are that you probably knew that the Phillies had when they go into a series like that against a team as good as the Cubs. So I think it just kind of confirms what people expected to going into the season, and that's that the Phillies are going to struggle at times, and the Cubs are really, really good.
Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. Frank Klose is with us. Follow him on Twitter at Frank Klose with a K, 973. We know the Phillies have the day off. They start that weekend series with the Nationals here. And I guess moving forward here, the Tommy Joseph, Ryan Howard thing, we saw Howard play yesterday go over 3 with 3 strikeouts. But Joseph, who legitimately is hitting the ball. It's not like they're just saying, hey, let's give this guy a shot here because we want to see. He's actually, been hitting the ball pretty well to provide a little bit of offense. But how overall, you got Ashe, you got Joseph out there, the way that they've been kind of mixing and matching some things. What would you like to see, Frank, ultimately from them in terms of a steady offense moving forward here, now that they kind of have a full disposal, other than, I guess, to Altair, who's not anywhere near ready. But this seems like the group of guys they're going to be playing with, now that they made the trade. They got Joseph, Ashe's back. What would you like to see from this team moving forward in terms of an offensive lineup?
Well, I think that the key here is they got to let Joseph play frequently and regularly. If you remember a week ago when he was about to start his 3 to 4 days, as Pete Buchanan says, seeing how well he could do in the lineup every day, he responded very well to coming to the ballpark and knowing that he was in the lineup. And I think that's still going to be the plan. Howard I didn't really agree with Howard getting another start yesterday. It was sort of like, well, here's a bonus because you hit a home run the day before. But I think they really need to build this offense around Tommy Joseph. As you saw what they've been doing, they've been playing the hot hand with Freddie Galvis. He's had some big hits, so he's batted third the last couple of days. But it's been really hard because Maikel Franco has struggled. I know as we went into the season, we were talking about whether or not Franco would make adjustments when people adjust to him. And he's kind of in the process of figuring that all out right now. So he's still figuring things out, but I would probably still bat him third, have Joseph behind him. As long as you have Herrera 1 or 2, and then I don't think they're ready to commit to Tyler Goeddel batting second, as we've discussed, but that's what I would have done. And Cameron Rupp has hit pretty well. I mean, he could be your 5-hole hitter. So that's what I probably would do at this point. I'd go Herrera, I'd go Goeddel, Franco, Joseph, and then behind him I would have Cameron Rupp. But, the catcher doesn't play every day, so that kind of complicates the situation too. But really, they got to do their best to stack the hot hands at the moment and just try to get any runs. Because as you saw yesterday, they against a good pitcher like Lackey, they squeezed 1 run, and it was after he left the game. So they got to do better in terms of that. And the only way to do that is really to stack the hot bats.
Frank, as Mike mentioned, first time since 1998, the Phillies have the first pick in the amateur draft. So 18 years it's been since they had the chance to go this high and have this anticipation going into tonight. What are your thoughts about the Phillies and who they take tonight?
Well, Baseball America and Keith Law, both of them, very well respected for their work with drafting players and in the minor leagues. Both of them in their mock drafts right now are picking an outfielder named Mickey Moniak. He was a high school outfielder from California. Pat Gillick was on hand recently as he had his best game. He went 5 for 5. He had driven 8 runs. He hit for the cycle. And it seems that Moniak might be the name that the Phillies are going to be taking. With all the talk about A.J. Puck and with all the talk about Jason Groom, Kyle Lewis was in the other day on Monday to visit with the Phillies. He's another potential high draft pick. It seems like the Phillies might be going with Moniak. And one reason, and that's kind of the theory that's going around, and even their minor league director, Johnny Almaraz, he said on Monday that they might try to get somebody in the first round below top dollar. So in other words, they can negotiate with anybody right now. So if they don't think there's one clear-cut superstar, I mean, there's no Bryce Harper in this draft where, like a couple years ago, the Nationals, you had to take Bryce Harper because Bryce Harper's available. But right now there might be like a number of really nice players, not an overwhelmingly strong player. So what they might do is find somebody that would cost them less in the first round and then overpay come their first pick in the second round for somebody that might have slipped below and might otherwise go back to college. So that's kind of what I think people are looking for the Phillies to do right now is perhaps right now, because they have a near $14 million bonus slot that they could give out to these the draftees for signing bonuses. So if they agree to somebody like Moniak and they only pay them maybe $5.5 million, well, then maybe they can offer another $5.5 million to somebody who slipped to round 2, which might happen because as you get down the line and the slot dollars go down, some of these teams that are drafting, within 10 to 15 range might not have the money to take to sign one of these guys. So then the Phillies might then take advantage of that. And we saw the Astros do last year. Des Cameron was one of those top first-round picks that everybody expected to be taken in the first round. But as he slipped a little bit, none of the teams had the money required to sign Cameron, so the Astros went and grabbed him in the second round. And guess what? They paid him accordingly, and he's in their system. So the Phillies might be getting creative here.
And you're mentioning the word slip a lot. Is that what you're hearing about Jason Groom, that his stock has slipped?
Well, the latest from Jason Groom is that he might go to junior college for a year. And if he goes to junior college, kind of the idea with that is that you can spend your 1 year at junior college, and then you can re-enter the draft. So if for some reason Groom isn't picked in the top 10, and when you get to pick 11, 12, 13, they don't have the money to sign somebody like him, that could be somebody that the Phillies grab in the second round. And then if they sign money out for $5.5 million, well, maybe Jason Groom is sitting there at the beginning of round 2, and they say, hey, we'll give you $5.5 million if you sign with us. And then next thing you know, you've got both these players. So it's kind of an interesting game right now because since they went to this slot system where the teams that pick first generally have the top amount of money to work with for the whole draft, we're seeing that this has been a creative way that people have responded. So we'll see. I mean, and maybe somebody like Groom, if he's not picked high enough to his liking, and he would just assume try again next year if the money's not right. And maybe a team like the Phillies or the Reds who are picking first and second in both rounds, they might be able to take advantage of that.
Frank Klose, follow him on Twitter at Frank Klose with a K 973. Don't forget to check him out at Philadelphia.com for more on the Phillies, and that is all part of sportstalkphilly.com. Day off for the Phils. They play the Nationals tomorrow. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, guys.